Carrie, back again with another First Chapter Friday. Once again, it's YA because that's what I do. Although, honestly, for this book, there has been a lot of debate among book reviewers and other types of websites that look at new books about whether this should even really be considered a YA book. And the label of young adult is actually pretty new, all things considered. We didn't used to have it. There were children's books, there were adult books. Nobody really labeled the books where the protagonists were teens, the intended readers were in their teenage years. We didn't need the label. And then it became a thing, and it became its own type of genre, which had its own tropes, its own cliches. This book, okay, so it's got the protagonists are in their teen years, but other than that, you could really fall down on either side of the line deciding whether or not this is a young adult or an adult book. It's certainly not like graphically violent or anything that would say, okay, in no way, shape, or form is this meant for teenagers. It's just that the themes, the story, it can be appreciated by a lot of ages. So, you can decide for yourself. All I'm going to say is, it's a really good book. It's called The Darkness Outside Us, and it's science fiction set in space. We have a character called Minerva Crux, who she was one of the first astronauts who was sent off to colonize one of the moons outside of Saturn, but something went wrong, and they don't know exactly what, so they're sending out a rescue mission. And her brother Ambrose is one of the astronauts chosen to go on this rescue mission. I say one of, because he wasn't really fully aware of the situation setting out. He's in a ship called the Endeavour, but attached to the Endeavour is a ship that's identical to it, called the Aurora. And inside the Aurora, which is attached, is another astronaut named Kodiak. And Kodiak is from the other big nation on Earth, Democratia, who is at war with Ambrose's nation, the Federation. So, yeah, we're setting up kind of an enemies type thing here, where they're the only two people on this ship, on this rescue mission, largely because neither of the countries could afford to front their own rescue mission. So they're working together on a ship that is now being referred to as the Coordinated Endeavour. And that alone is twisty enough, but there's other things going on that were kept from these boys, and they're slowly starting to uncover them. It feels like there are things hidden in the operating system running the ship that are being kept from them. There's signs that maybe there have been some other people on the ship. Ambrose wakes up 2 weeks into the mission, apparently having been in a coma due to problems with the launch for the first 2 weeks, which seems very strange to him. But anyway, the book is in 6 parts, but it's not really separated into chapters, so this isn't exactly a first chapter Friday. I'm going to read you a first section. Each of the parts is kind of divided by, I'll show you, they're kind of hacked up into tasks remaining, because the ship has jobs for them to do throughout this, and they have to chip away at them little by little, first separately, but eventually working together. I should tell you also, it's sort of marketed the book is as a romance between the two boys. That's the smallest part of the book. And that's another reason why people are debating. It looks like an angsty YA romance, but no, it's more mystery, sci-fi, drama, twisty world building, total immersion. So, we begin. Sort of a prologue. Saturn's moon Titan is the nearest celestial body that is hospitable to human life. January 23rd, 2470. The first settler lands there, Citizen 1 of the Cusk Corporation colony. The two remaining countries of Earth, Democracia and Federation, unite to celebrate. Until 6 weeks later, when Minerva Cusk's outpost goes unexpectedly dark. The world assumes its great hope has died. 2 years later, reports come in that Minerva's distress beacon has manually triggered. A rescue mission is launched. This is the story of what happens next. Am I alive? Who are you? My mother won't answer my knocks. Her feet cast shadows in the sliver of light beneath her door. My sister's voice from down the hall. Ambrose, come in here with me. Minerva's bed is warm, and in it I'm held. I hadn't known I needed that so much. Once my sniffles had stopped, she whispers, "As long as I'm alive, someone loves you." Her voice rings out over a pink sand beach. "Get up, Ambrose, you're racing me to the point." Now Minerva's drowning. Her strong arms chop ocean, but bring her nowhere. I try to yell, but my dry throat gapes. Minerva has never needed help, not in her whole life. I can't open my eyes. I'm not where I thought I was. I try to call out again, despite the burning in my throat. "I'm coming! I'll save you!" Clatter of hard polycarb on hard polycarb, ringing and rolling, a whirring hum. When I open my eyes, the world looks no different. I'm blind. Ting, ting, buzz. I haven't been blind. I have been in the absolute dark. Now there is light. "Is someone there?" I ask, blinking against the purple burn. A voice comes on. I recognize it. "There has been an accident, Ambrose. You've been in a coma. I'll let you know when you can move." "Mother? Where are you?" My voice sounds like a sob. She'd hate the weakness of it. "I'm not your mother, though I may sound like her," she says. "I'm using her voice skin." Voice skin. Ship. Right, I'm on the Endeavor. "You're the operating system," I say. My eyes jerk around in their sockets. White polycarbonate walls, 04 printed in large block numerals beside a doorway. There is no sand. This is not a place for sand. I'm on my mission. "Give me an update on my sister." My mother, my operating system, needs no time to think. Her words begin before mine end. "You are on a mission to retrieve Minerva, or Minerva's body." "I know that, OS," I spit. "I asked you for an update." The floor hums. An image returns. My parents, my brothers and sisters, frolicking on our Cusk-branded pink sand. Minerva splashing through waves of steaming seawater in her white racing suit. My mother yelling, "Faster, Minerva! You could go faster!" My molten bronze fingers searching the scorching artificial grains for a seashell. My family's seaport is distant in the blue. Radio arrays wheeling. Pleasure satellites haunt it. "Are you delaying because you have no information, or because Minerva is dead?" I say. I want to add more, but speaking hurts too much. "I will fill you in once you're ready." I manage to shake my head, vertebrae grinding. "That's not how this works. You'll fill me in now." "The launch had complications, but was ultimately successful," OS says. "You are on board the coordinated Endeavor, weeks past Earth and its moon. We are well on our way to the Titan distress beacon. There has been no change in her signal." Of course my sister is alive. Dying would be a failure, and Minerva Cusk doesn't fail. I try to swallow, but I have no saliva. "Water," I croak. "At your bedside," OS says. My eyes zoom out of focus and then narrow in on the hand. It's my hand, but I watch it like it's someone else's as it knocks into the polycarb tray beside me. I like my hand, my blipping brain decides. It's a beautiful hand. A cup of water is there, far and then suddenly too close. I miss my mouth, water pouring down my cheek. My arm muscles knot tight as the cup drops and rolls away. I manage to say a word in the midst of the pain. That word is ow. A whine from the next room. Then a robot skirts along the wall. It looks like half of a white basketball. The robot gives a delicate whine before composite pliers emerge from an opening, pinch the cup, and right it. The nozzle emerges from another opening and sprays in more water. "Hydration for when you are able to manage it," my mother says. No, my mother's back on Earth. I won't let myself make that mistake again. "You might want to limber up before you try to drink more." I stretch my other arm, which turns out to be attached to an IV. Its muscles cramp, and the arm falls to the bed. The gurney. My muscles pinch harder, and I gasp. I can't bring myself to try to drink again. There's a lightness to the world, like I'm back with my fellow spacefarer cadets that one afternoon when we took a bottle of Pepsi rum into the woods, goading, daring, slurping, drunk before we knew we were getting drunk. I kissed 4 of them that day before I sneaked away to run laps. But I can't be drunk after a coma. You only feel drunk. My blood pressure, I croak, wincing. Yes, your blood pressure is still low. Do not stand until I give you permission, Ambrose Cusk. A coma is impossible, I say, blinking at my own stupidity. Not at the words I said, but at having tried to speak, having willingly rubbed the inside of my throat against the sand. I cannot let you rest long, Mom Not Mom says. By taking off under such rushed conditions, the safeguards meant to protect you were ineffective. You passed out before your shuttle even left Earth's atmosphere. Please just accept that fact. We are behind schedule. Rushed conditions. I try to ask the operating system what that means, but only croak. I try to say that Ambrose Cusk does not pass out, but only croak. I'm not exactly living up to my big sister's standards. Your speech is not evocative enough for me to make any inferences about your intentions, OS continues. I will therefore continue my previous course of conversation. While OS speaks, I flex my hands. The tendons begin to limber up, first the tips of my fingers, then the rest of each digit. I clench my feet, my ass. I'm out of breath with the exertion, but if I keep this up, eventually I'll get to my feet. We've been leaking air and are coming up on an asteroid with a frozen water core in 1.7 days. That water can be electrolyzed to replenish our oxygen, so I am matching our speed and bearings so we can net it. If we miss this opportunity, supporting life on the coordinated endeavor could become impossible. I rock from side to side, and though my belly doesn't cramp up, it does feel like I've downed yet another bottle of Pepsi rum. I'll be puking soon, there's no doubt about that. I grit my teeth and raise my right arm. The muscles seize, my fingers become talons. But by concentrating and breathing through the pain, okay, howling's the better word for it, I manage to pick up the polycarb cup at my bedside. I lift it to my mouth. Most of the liquid runs down my chin, soaking my chest, but some dribbles in. The robot whirs in and refills the cup. I use my left arm to drink this time, since the right has crimped back into a claw. Even more of the water goes in. I'm getting the hang of having a body. I want to ask how long I was out, but OS is right. Life support is our first priority. So we harvest this asteroid, or I die, I say. The sandy depths of my memory offer me the grand hall of the Cusk Academy, lined with plaques and medals, a string of spacefarer cadets in starched cotton suits that crackle like paper. Announcements project into the air. Who's made it to the next round of screening, who was one step closer to the coveted mission slot. Minerva's name and avatar flashing up there 3 years ago, all white teeth and confidence, her grand departure to investigate Titan. The only person who really loved me, showered in laurels, cheered by millions, mine no longer. My likeness projected up there 3 years later, all white teeth and almost as much confidence, when I was chosen to go save her. I remember my training, I croak. I remember being selected. I remember my last day on the beach before I went upstairs for my full-body medical scan, but I don't remember the launch, not at all. Unsurprising, OS says. You were rattled in the shuttle. Organic processors are so fragile. Wouldn't be the first knock on this head, I say, tapping my skull experimentally. Our trainers would harness us to long carnival arms and spin us, measuring how much G-force we could withstand. I'd always aced those tests. How long was I out? 2 weeks, OS says. Shit, that's embarrassing. Passing out was not in the mission plan. I sit up, swing my legs around. Bad idea. I shout and fall back against the gurney. Hold still until I tell you you're ready, Ambrose, OS says in my mother's voice. A whir and a whine as Rover ticks along the wall. Once it's right next to me, its tongs emerge, a pellet pinched delicately between them, soft contents bulging. Whatever's inside its sausage-like casing is a rich and liquidy brown, gas bubbles rising within it. It smells savory. OS, did Rover just poop? In a way it has, OS says. The microfauna of your intestines need to be replenished immediately to prevent any inflammatory autoimmune response. These organisms are selected to populate your tract with healthy proportions of bacteria. Eating shit wasn't in the mission plan, I say. I do remember my briefings about the Minerva rescue, the plans for my trip on the Endeavor. I just don't remember starting the mission. Neither was your coma. Wow, mean. Rover refills the cup of water. Down the hatch, my mother's voice says. Good use of the colloquial, I say. I assume that line was pre-programmed. I take a good look at the pellet. At least I can thank Mission Control for encasing this shit before making me eat it. Mom would never say down the hatch, by the way. My surrogates would, but Mom's too polished for that. Pretty sure she's never been near a diaper. I didn't even see her for the first 10 years of my life. Minerva basically raised me. I pop the pellet into my mouth and chase it with water. The agony of swallowing makes me roar. Eyes streaming tears, I fake a smile. Please, ma'am, can I have some more? That was enough microfauna for now, OS says. Yes, I say, as I burp the most unpleasant burp any human has ever burped. Agreed. The boundaries of the room warble. I close my eyes, concentrate on my breathing so I don't gag. Might as well make nausea your lover, Minerva told me on a long walk through the family grounds after she discovered I'd been picked for the Cusk Academy. It's the only thing that'll be by your side all through your training. With her on my mind, I ride the waves of sickness until they subside. How long until we reach my sister? Approximately 191 days. As my veins swell with fluid, my mind makes obvious connections that it couldn't manage even a minute ago. A grin cracks my face, cramping those muscles too. I probably don't look it, but I'm filled with joy. OS, we're in space! In the milliseconds that pass before it responds, I imagine OS reassessing Mission Control's decision to send me. Yes, Spacefarer Cusk, we are in space. I yank out my IV, swing my legs around, and stand. Rover makes alarmed boops while it watches me get to my feet. Blood spots the glossy white floor. My blood. My feet are giant blisters, swollen with fluid, fat and purple and red where blood strains skin. Lightning turns my vision white. Tasks remaining, 342. It's a slow start. It's meant to be a slow start. When it picks up speed, you'll know. Anyway, that's the beginning of The Darkness Outside Us by Eliot Schrefer. You can pick it up upstairs in the YA section of the library or place it on hold and we'll maintain it for you.